What is the Epiphany Bridge?
It's a great way to get people to where you are by telling a story, to having the person listening to the story to have the same epiphany in their world that you had in your world without telling them your epiphany or telling them to have one.
Welcome to the Impactors Podcast. I'm Corey Carter.
And I'm Ron Cool.
And we are the owners and founders of Hindsight HacKing Media, agency, podcasts, funnels, graphics, and more. Head on over to gethhm.com to learn more.
Guys, we created this podcast to help you go create an impact today. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, today. We're taking all the fluff, all the BS out so you can go create an impact.
And today's topic is...
All right, again, Expert Secrets Week. We are now on Expert Secret number 7, the Epiphany Bridge.
That's right, Ron. This is the funnest thing because I'm a horrible storyteller. And so this is the first time that I really started paying attention to how I talked in regards to the stories that I told. And so it was the first time I really understood it. I understood what I needed to do. And so it's the starting point of this. When people buy, they either buy two ways, right? They buy logically or emotionally. And most of the time there's a little of each in both that, right?
Right.
And so I love your explanation of the Epiphany Bridge. So tell the audience, what is the Epiphany Bridge?
It's a great way to get people to where you are by telling a story, to having the person listening to the story to have the same epiphany in their world that you had in your world without telling them your epiphany or telling them to have one.
That's right. So you had to connect with them on, you sell something on the logical standpoint in regards to oh, I've got all these features and little things in it. Right. And that's hey, I spent 10 grand and I'm going to go tell my wife I spent 10 grand. I need to have all the logical aspects to explain to her of why it's a good idea.
Right.
But what got me to buy that spend that 10 grand is the story, the emotional connection that went through it, that put me in the shoes of said storyteller. Right. And, a lot of ways to do that is the simple phrase to get people in your shoes, the simple phrase to get people to understand. And that is kind of like, right? If you're telling a story and people don't quite get it, well, it's kind of like X, right?
Here's how I started explaining that, Corey.
Okay.
Right. If you have a Hershey's bar and a jar of peanut butter and you dip the Hershey's bar into the jar of peanut butter, it's kind of like a Reese's, but it's not. But it's kind of but you now visually see a Reese's peanut butter cup in your head.
Right.
And it makes you want one because I want one now.
Only if you're crazy and you like chocolate. But
yes. You don't like chocolate.
I don't like chocolate. So but yeah, so you're taking people from what they understand. You say it's kind of right? People understand the Reese's, but you want to get the chocolate bar and peanut butter. So it's kind of to the new concept, right?
Right. So I'm going to totally go off script and subject altogether. Altogether. Because this is funny. Did you watch football last night?
No.
Okay. Well, there was a Tom Brady commercial.
Okay.
And it was modeled after a cologne. Okay. So it's him looking all, Tom Brady sexy, right? Half his face dark in a suit, and there's cologne, and he's spraying it. And when he sprays it, it says bready because it's a Subway commercial.
Oh, okay.
And it's about bread. And at the end, what was brilliant about it, he's smelling the bread. He's just smelling it and goes, I could smell it. I can almost taste it. And then there's another voice, the lady from Subway, that goes, but you don't eat bread. And that's how the commercial ends, right? So it was kind of like this cologne commercial, but it was hilarious because we know Tom Brady doesn't eat bread. Right?
Yeah.
But he was selling a bread commercial for Subway.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Some commercials really get you on those stories.
Sorry. I had to totally go off script.
No, I mean, it's the epiphany. Someone had an epiphany like, oh, I could still enjoy Subway if I don't like bread. I can still enjoy the smells if I don't like the bread. That's kind of what I got from
Yep.
your side of that. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, that it's so funny. Like the best sales folks are the best storytellers.
Right.
Right. And that's just, but I guarantee they're using some kind of epiphany bridge, because the easier sell is when you basically tell a story and somebody pictures themselves in that story.
Yeah. And Catherine Jones does it the best.
Catherine Jones. I mean, even Steve Larson.
Steve Larson does a good job.
He got you ready to buy a book.
He got me ready to buy a book from a story that didn't make, like, he made the story to get everyone to understand how to tell a story. And then while everyone was about to buy this book, and we talked about it on our Hindsight Hacking show with him specifically, like I remember he's like, don't go buy the book. I totally made it up. But he was so enthralled in this story and how it helped him get to where he was. You wanted to buy the book.
Yeah.
I don't buy books, and I was ready to buy this book.
Yeah. All right. So the moral of this conversation today, if you want to make your life easier with sales, figure out the stories that take one person from what they understand to what they need to understand with the new opportunity. And you can use a simple transition, like it's kind of like. So no fluff, no BS. It's kind of like impact. Go make some. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you want to learn more, head on over to impactorsmastermind.com. We have a special group waiting just for you.
Guys, why are you still listening to this? Get off your phone. Go create an impact today.